lesson, we're going to be practicing hip hooping, which is where we let the hoop coil down from our waist to our hips and we hold it there. Now, this is interesting because it may be the first part of the body where we actually need to change the size of our hula hoop while we're practicing at the start. Particularly for women, we tend to be larger through our hips naturally. So when our body is larger inside of a hula hoop, we take up more space and then have less room to move inside the hoop, making our actions faster. So if your hoop is too small on your hips, you're not going to have the time to figure out how to move down there before it falls down. It's confusing, I know, but let me demonstrate. Here is a hula hoop that is small and lightweight, so a little bit too small for my body to comfortably be able to hold on my hips. So I let it go down there and you can see how much faster and how much more work I need to do to sustain this hoop on my hips. So if this is the case with you, you may need to jump up to a slightly larger hula hoop. Now the techniques for getting the hula hoop down there and holding it. We need to maintain the speed as our hula hoop drops from our waist. So because our waist is more of a round shape and we're making a circling motion from here, as it drops down to our hips, which is a little bit more of a rectangular or oval shape, the action is going to change from a circle to a side-to-side butt wiggle. Push, 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 push. We need to maintain this fast speed so the hoop doesn't get the death wobble. So again, here I'm holding a circling motion with my waist, and as it drops, my hips kick in, side to side. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Now, once you get comfortable with this, you may add in a little bit of a circle, but I personally find that the circle starts to throw the hoop off. Adding a turn can help even out the circling and help you maintain it down there. Okay. So practicing hip hooping is our first introduction to actually coiling the hoop up and down our body. When we're talking about coiling, it's going from one area of the body down to another area of the body, and then we work on bringing it back up. So we were introduced to our first ways to get the hoop back up in the waist hooping lesson. The hitch under, so the little wiggle, where it might be a dip like this, or it could just be a little pop of your hip, or the faster push to get it back up. So once you're comfortable and you get the hoop down there on your waist and you're holding it comfortably, and then you're able to slowly turn and move around, same direction as the hoop, I want you to practice trying to take it down to your hips and then coil it back up. And then drop it back down and coil it back up. With body rocking that we're doing in this course, we really want to maintain the speed of the hoop. It's crucial that we keep the speed going so we avoid that death wobble. We don't want the hoop to drop. So if your hoop is getting down there and getting the death wobble, get it back up, power it up, and see how much speed and power you can keep behind the hoop as you take it down. Now I'm going to demonstrate what hip hooping looks like with a really big hoop. Well, a big hoop for my body type. So I'm going to drop it down. You can see it's actually going down there slower, but my hips have more space and more time to rotate. And I'm actually able to get more of that circular motion going with this hoop. It's not as frantic a push. And here I can more cruisily turn. So this is the advantage of going up to a bigger size hoop when you're trying to master a trick. We need to make sure that we're giving our body the time to actually feel into the muscle movements and have the space to learn what they're supposed to do before the hoop wants to drop. And that's the key. Now, introducing the buffering techniques to hip hooping, you may find that if your hoop is too small, you can actually start to introduce a few of those buffering techniques to save the hoop. So I'm dropping down there, some breaks and reverses to get it back up. Or I'm holding it down on my hips. Another buffering technique is to turn to keep it going down there and getting it back up. If you are trying to learn to sustain the spin on your hips and you're struggling, go up to a bigger size hoop, but remember that we can use buffering techniques to work with our smaller hoops when we want to be spinning on body with them. So using turns while we're trying to maintain a spin with a small hoop, or breaks and reverses, can open up a lot of dance that we can do with a small hoop without needing to jump up in size. I would recommend practicing with both. Have fun.